And we're live.
Yay. Welcome to Oliphant. No, it's great to be on tonight, even though I'm taking a few days off. Today seemed like
Yeah.
a work day. Couple of interviews, a lot of messages from the offices. So
Mhm.
it's been, and I thank you all for interrupting my lumberjack work today. I was taking down some trees and branches, and that let me have a couple of breaks in between and get cooled off because although it wasn't as hot as it's been, it was still pretty warm out while you're out if you're working. So I
Yeah, it
was,
started off cool, got pretty hot.
yeah, yeah. So what's new?
Whew,
Well, we
so
should tell people, hey, we're on. Start asking questions. We didn't get through them all last week. The week before was a little tough too. So
yeah.
you better say hi and start asking your questions early. We'll see how many we can get answered.
Mhm. So
What?
there was a big event, happening or there is a big event happening, I believe it's tomorrow with the railway crossing. That was all going on the
Oh,
media.
well, there's some railway repairs. That took a lot of work over the last 7 days and a lot of kind of confrontation with CN. They are happy now to be moving together with the city of St. Thomas instead of disputing that we're there to help them too. It's all economic too. CN will get a lot of
Yeah.
extra business out of the city of St. Thomas's and businesses here. So we really want to make a relationship where when we ask, they say yes. When they ask, we say yes, and we can do these things a lot quicker. We shouldn't be waiting months
Mhm.
and having to message back and forth, a dozen times in order to set up a date to do something as simple as fixing a rail crossing. So I think we got it worked out. But if you notice, there's two or three other mayors across Ontario that are calling out CN right now on the same issue. So
Yeah.
um, I plan to see the uh, government relations person and others at AMO in August. So I'll carry on the conversation. Couple more things we need to work on here: the Barwick Bridge for certain,
Mhm.
right? And the what else are we? The level crossing over there by the Barwick Street Bridge. So we got that to work with them on still too. So and the connection of the old Port Stanley line and the CN line, and we keep bringing it back up. But now that we're talking and people know that they maybe weren't, maybe we could talk about all these things.
Yeah,
Brad
no.
asked, "What's the status of the secondary plan?" It's 1 week since it was announced, and I'm sure our planning department is working together with the landowners on getting them together for the first conversation.
Mhm. That's
I am
exciting times.
away on holidays, so I'm not corralling people to do that. I'm here doing other things with Stephanie.
Yeah, but speaking of that, there was a lot of, council business that we didn't get a chance to talk about in the last one. What are some key highlights from there?
Well, the first one of them was another report from Watson. I don't know if we talked about this at all last week about the commercial. They did another study in the plan that this council's been looking at, the
Mhm.
long-term plan of what do we need to do for growth.
Mhm.
Um, and one of the things that we talked about, we asked them for a report on is with the growth in population that Watson has predicted for our community. First of all, what land will we need for commercial growth?
Mhm.
And with you and I heavily involved in the downtown, we want to make sure that that commercial space gets as full as it can be, but that we also have set aside enough other commercial space in town for to serve the people that are moving and living here in St. Thomas. So we think so that was done, and the study showed that in the next 20 years, as we see a lot of growth in St. Thomas, we would end up with a shortfall of amount of commercial space. So that lets this council start to look at what else could be commercial space and how can we do it. All right.
Mhm.
What do we got? How will St. Thomas be affected by tariffs? The same as the rest of the country. This is a federal, provincial, and municipal issue, and we keep talking with industry and in our community that are being affected, whether it's tariffs on steel and other things. But as you and I have shared before, and we've talked about here on Mayor's Update, we've got a lot of great companies in our city who make great products and are able to sell them just about anywhere. And if the United States becomes a hard place to sell it, we'll have to move further. But I want to really recognize element five.
Hmm.
and the growth in that corporation and how well they're growing across Canada and across North America. And so with housing needs, they're really filling it in and doing a great job. So
Yeah.
perfect.
And I can touch base on the tariffs a little bit as well in terms of businesses. It
Sure.
depends on your business. Some businesses are directly affected if they're bringing in items from the US because they're hesitant
Yes.
to sell an item to a client in St. Thomas if they have to ship it in from the US if they don't know what the tariff will be week to week. So they're losing
Well,
business
that'd
on
be a
that front.
Canadian tariff though, right? If you're buying something in the United States and bringing it here, that then you'd only be affected if Canada has put a tariff on that product.
Hmm.
The American tariffs are the other way if you're selling something from here to there. So you're right. It's you don't know day to day what it is or how much it is, and that's much a fault of President Trump as anyone. And so I've been, keep your powder dry and just keep doing what you do best, and let's figure out what the new lay of the land is. Federally, there's a lot of negotiations going on right now with the United States on a trade deal. So I'm going to keep my powder dry and watch that happen. At the end of the day, we'll know where we stand.
Hmm. Got a shout out from Dale Cummings to Ozzy Osbourne, who unfortunately passed away today,
I
and he's a
saw that
legend.
today that you know Black Sabbath goes back to my youth,
Yeah.
right? But Ozzy's been a, a pretty well-known figure throughout the whole time I've been here, and so rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd say that on Mayor's Update, but there we go. Thanks, Dale. Um, what's council's stance on housing people from St. Thomas as compared to housing people from outside St. Thomas? We don't house anybody outside St. Thomas. St. Thomas is about housing in St. Thomas. If someone has chosen St. Thomas as their place to live, then of course we'll need to continue, as this council has and continues to look forward on ensuring that there is, first of all, enough housing and that it can be as affordable as we can possibly make it. We don't affect affordability in a great way, except for how well our planning department does at being much quicker and less costly than many other communities. The same thing with building permits and such being cheaper in St. Thomas than other communities. As the other levels of government add or subtract GST on new homes or on rental homes, then that really starts to affect us. And as we see here in St. Thomas, we've had a number of changes over the last decade of people,
Mm.
even like myself, who moved out of a 4-bedroom home and into a 2-bedroom apartment and have downsized and allowed those homes and rental homes that are out there at a better rate to be rented to other people who are more in demand. And you and I have talked on here a lot. We've like the Prespa deal on Flora, where we took
Mm.
over that whole apartment building for affordable seniors housing. We continue to build supportive housing, which is extremely affordable housing, and we'll carry on doing so. We'll continue to remodel the affordable housing we already have, whether it's Kiewant Manor or the Chestnut Street apartments, or we'll continue to work in that way. But I don't see. I see housing as a need under supply and demand. Greater
Mm.
supply we can continue to achieve here in St. Thomas, then the lower the pricing will be, and the better certainly the rental market will be also.
Mhm. Dale's saying we should have Rick from Railway City Music and Arts Festival on before the festival happens. Absolutely. I
Yes,
reached out to the
I was
festival.
speaking to Joe Doherty about it just the other day, and so, sometimes you and I have different lists, and then we forget to share them because we have other jobs besides half an hour a week at Mayor's Update. But
Do
yes,
we?
let's get Rick on. Let's do that because we
Yeah.
really want to talk about how that's going, right?
So yeah, the ball's in their court for connecting up with us, and then we'd be happy to do it.
Right.
Um, dun, dun,
And I'm
dun.
looking forward to the Rail City Arts and Music Festival.
Mhm.
Great use of the best park in the world in Pinafore Park, and a great festival that needs community support
Yep.
in order to create its own bit of funding for the next one and for the next one. And when they have a rainy festival, like they will have some years, it will be
Mm.
hard to carry on. So we want to make sure that St. Thomas gets out in full force and supports the Railway Arts and Music Festival.
Mhm. And speaking of support, I was talking to Councillor Gibson, and she was talking about her work with the troops and saying, they're trying to get as many letters, Christmas letters for the troops from St. Thomas as they can this year. They're doing a
Right.
Christmas in July event. And so they're starting the campaign now. And up to November 21st, you can submit a letter for the troop saying Merry Christmas, things along the idea that you're in their thoughts, but don't put any personal information in it, because then they won't be able to send, Canadian forces won't be able to send letters on, and don't seal the envelopes. Those are the two key things. Last year
So
they had 300 letters, but
great.
this year they're looking to double it. You can contact Rose Gibson through email or her Facebook account, or call the Legion office and leave a message. The number is 519-631-9840.
Right. Exactly. Let's do it. Let's double what they were able to send to our troops last year. Certainly identifying and letting troops who are away from their own home realize what's happening in their hometown of St. Thomas, or even if St. Thomas isn't their hometown,
Mhm.
what people are thinking, what our troops are doing. So what a great job, Rose. And I have great respect for Rose as a counselor in the city of St. Thomas. You want a task done, you kind of give it to Rose, and she's been great with the Legion and great in my past with her in the United Way and a number of other ways. And look, I love her. I'll just put it that way, and hope
Me
we
too.
don't get in trouble at home.
Yeah. Okay. So we covered the Watson report. What else from council should we chat about?
Well, we talked about how the secondary plan started off and how we're going there. A lot of CIP grants, a lot of people doing renovations to their downtown businesses and other real estate in community, whether it's heritage or we're starting to see more in the CIP grant area of investigation on brownfield situations or on the
Mhm.
environmental care of land or housing moving forward. So we're saying yes to at least some of the early studies in the case of you can't really plan what you might build till you know what you've got, what you're allowed to build where you are. And so the CIP, we're really trying to move forward with rapid housing when we can, that it helps someone who wouldn't otherwise have done a renovation or created housing. But we'll continue to, as a community, say we want to be in on this too, and that of course helps affordability. And we'd like to see the CIP used by all people who would like to make an accessory unit to their home, or how to better prepare the house they already have to have more apartments in it, that type of thing. So that's a big part of our agenda.
Mhm.
We talked a lot about um, some other parks and rec pieces that we're moving forward on. We have a new, with Adrian, of course, being our lead at parks and of the whole parks department. And I'm not sure we could come up with Cody's name last week. We're talking about his role in our city too.
Phenomenal fellow.
Yes,
He's
right,
been great as I've
right.
worked with him through the Downtown Development Board, and he's just gotten things done like one after another. It's been fantastic.
The other pieces that we of course continue to talk about at council by
Mhm.
by starting a new communications program and starting to talk about how do we get input from you, the
Yep.
person watching Mayor's Update today or not watching Mayor's Update today, on all of the projects we're trying to do. The first one we're trying to do is there's been a request to recognize a certain citizen as having helped pickleball in our community. Well, the
Mhm.
naming rights piece now asks that we get public input on pieces like that. I know we're doing the transportation master plan. Public meetings are ongoing now too, and we've talked a lot about what we can do there. Look, we get a lot done in the summer on some of these studies and some of these meetings, right?
Mhm. We've
Right.
got Adam Montgomery saying, "Look at that cool wall behind Grayden. Some might think it's square,
It
but I
was.
think
It
it's
was.
cool."
I was thinking it was kind of Minecraft or something behind you tonight. It was, but
Well
I,
played.
I know what it is. It's your soundproofing, and
Yeah.
they're just slightly different color soundproofing tiles.
It's
But
like
this is the first time I've seen them from this angle. So great.
Yeah. No. Oh, Plaza Sushi has completely updated their menu. They now have Korean
Yes,
food available. I got a
you
chance to
are
go
in
try it
big
out.
trouble, mister.
What? Why is that?
Well, you went to Plaza Sushi again, knowing I was out of town. You said, "Oh, I'm going, and I'm going to have all the great new stuff on the menu before Joe gets to try it." Right?
They planned this day. I don't know, maybe like they planned it. I just happened to be there. So,
Right.
I think maybe it is. Maybe it's conspiracy. They knew you'd be out of town, so they were like, "Yep."
Well,
Oh my
we
goodness.
great.
Like
Thank you. And I hear it was fantastic. And I
so
hear the
good.
new Korean pieces to the menu are like out of this world. And of course, my love of food. And I saw Adam go by here too, right? So we
Yeah.
love food,
I'm
right?
pretty sure Adam got a chance to try it out earlier too.
Oh yeah, right.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
but
Okay. Both of you. No,
yeah, oh man, like
I'm sorry. I'm away working. It's great.
these
Oh,
burgers
look at
they've
the great
got.
stuff Grayden's showing us from his phone. That's
Yeah, I didn't have a chance. I was snapping them. I was on my way here. I got a chance. I went out with the family for dinner. This chicken burger is pretty tasty. Anyway,
beautiful.
I'll post these on Facebook. Anyway, they're
Right?
downtown. They're amazing. Just
Well,
fantastic
Adam
owners.
says he's been there too. Okay, well now I'm starting to dislike almost everybody on here tonight. So it's Grayden can't wait to get back and meet you at Plaza Sushi someday for us to run down the menu, and you'll tell me already what's already good. So I
I'm down.
like
Everything's
sending
good.
out a scout. So that's great.
Anytime. Adam Montgomery's he's asked about this before. Rib Fest. We've had Rib Fest
Yes.
before. What's happening with
Well,
future plans for it?
before I became mayor, the mayor and council of the day decided they didn't want to Rib Fest in St.
Mhm.
Thomas, and thus canceled it or didn't allow it to occur, whatever year that was, 2017 or 2016. Um,
Yeah.
and and the Rib Fest folks that run Rib Fest
Mhm.
have kind of a route, and they replace St. Thomas. And I've asked the proprietors that run Rib Fest, a couple of them, please come back and see us. And they said, well, only if it's going to happen. Only if and look at it. There's
Mm.
nothing I like better than a Rib Fest. So I'd sure love to have another conversation about bringing a Rib Fest back to St. Thomas. And I like Pinafore Park
Yeah.
as the site. I thought the last couple worked great there, but um, we will have to um, use our inside influence on Ribfest proprietors and see what we can do. Right?
Absolutely. All right. Dale Cummings has a question, and this is something that came up at our downtown development board meeting as well. It's
Right?
can the city ask the owner of the building that burned down on Talbot Street to start cleaning the property up? It looks
Yes.
like an eyesore in the middle of town.
Yes. There's property standards laws, of course, but when someone's just had a tragedy like their building burning down, we made it as safe as we can, and there is still safety fencing and such. But we all know there's a pile of debris in the middle of that has to be cleaned up before anything else can happen there. We
Mhm.
really can't. There's one standing wall on another side, so property standards is in full conversation with how do we first of all remove all that. I think we thanked the Stripes last week for the work they
Yes.
did during the fire of knocking down the walls and putting it and at least containing the debris. Yes, I think you'll see over short order. It really is now at the point of the building owner, the lot owner, to go ahead and make sure it's clear. I wouldn't think that site could be redeveloped or sold if that debris isn't cleaned pretty quickly.
Yeah, and one of the things the downtown development board is going to ask as well is whether or not we can put up if we can ask the city if there's the option to put up a fence and then put a mural on it immediately after an event like that, and then help kind of beautify those areas and make them less distracting to people that come downtown. So we're going to
Right.
put that together as well, and if we can put funds toward it, we will as well. But it's one of the ideas that was coming out of our group on the downtown development board.
And we see this, and Adam just mentioned it too, but we see this as an opportunity. I mean, obviously,
Mhm.
it's a tragedy when it happens, and we thank the great service of our fire department and police on the night when tragedy happens in our community. We're thankful that no one was hurt,
Yeah.
no one was put out of home, those types of things. But it is an opportunity. There's now a new spot downtown where we can have something else get going and get started. So we'll work as hard as we can to make sure that hole in downtown gets filled as possible
Mhm.
or as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And Dale Cummings saying, he's just worried that someone else will try and burn the rubble again.
Well, I
Absolutely.
get it. Let's not give them that idea either. But you're right. We have a standard called property standards, even after a tragedy, that has to be taken care of. You remember the Inkerman property almost immediately after, and to this day, it was really well cleaned up very, very quickly. This one's taking a little more time. I wish it wasn't, but we'll be asking those same questions this week too.
And Sue Marg saying, if Grayden is ever missing, check Plaza Sushi. Yep, Plaza Sushi, Cafe Siam, Streamliners.
Yeah, no. There's I have to.
Among
I
many.
just message him because I want to know if he's close or not. I should put a Apple tag on him, so I could just go, oh, he's at Plaza Sushi. I'm going for supper. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Oh man, but yeah, new menu is fantastic. The chicken burger in particular, highlight.
It was good. You liked it? Okay.
Loved it.
All right.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Oh yeah.
Well, Brett, you keep asking the same question over and over, so I don't know if I haven't answered it well enough for you, or you are not liking the answers I'm giving. But we continue as a council through our strategic plan and the growth of our community to look at supplying. So I'll wait for it to come back. Here's my thought now. We work together with the planning department with many developers and try to find any land available in our community that can be housing. We don't build much. When we do, it's in collaboration with companies like Indwell to do supportive housing, or like we did with Prespa and the affordable housing there. We'll continue to be one of the least expensive and best active communities we can on planning, and continuing to use the land that we do have available in our community to provide housing. If we can provide more housing units, then we can make the price better. If housing stays tight, then prices very hard to lower, because that's the cost of supply and demand. So we continue, and have been talking about it directly, look, and even the studies we just saw about so far in 2025 on the housing starts, we're ahead of last year at this point. It's not great. It's not where we really wanted to be. We've been waiting for interest rates to drop so that builders could get back at building, and we're all working together as fast as we can on whether it's new apartment buildings, new subdivisions, new townhouse, or whatever. Okay, Grayden's obviously had trouble, so I'll keep asking. Well, thank you, Tony, for jumping in. Brett, it's great that you're on here every weekend, but when you ask the same question 4 times each week, other people on here say, well, didn't you just answer that? And we say, yes, we did. And for the most part, we're doing what we can do moving forward as a community, both on homelessness completion, getting out of homelessness in our own community, getting modifying emergency sheltering, but also building as many family homes as we can, and as affordable as we possibly can. I'm not sure I can answer it better than that.
That is very well said. All right, we've got Rick Nemeth here.
Oh, Rick's on.
Be happy to. All right, Rick, you're on. You want to come on next week?
Yeah, next Tuesday, okay?
Yeah, let us know. I sent an email over to the info at the Railway City Music Festival, so check in with that for details, or just message the Facebook page. We'd love to have you on next week if you're around.
Hey, Dale's leaving to watch the Blue Jays game, so you got to get me out of here pretty soon too, because I kind of been pretty big fan in the last little while. They've been doing quite good.
Yeah. They're killing it. All right. We've got a special treat for our viewers, though. We've got the Railway City, or the Elgin County Railway Museum is releasing their plan for the building. And we've got a first look for our viewers at what they're sharing this evening. So I'm going to pull in a presentation.
Great. While you're doing that, I'm going to answer Adam.
Yep.
Adam, I can't be there Saturday. I'm away with Stephanie and will not be back till the 1st of next week. And then I'm going to be away again a little bit. So thank you for the invite, but it's been a really special time being the lumberjack up here, cutting down trees and branches today in a little cooler day, but it was still a little bit of work. But, I probably need that physical activity too. So it was great to be doing it.
Yeah, and if I can, I'll be there, Adam. But I've got, we're doing the snowflake bee for the downtown development board. We're gonna
Well,
like build them as long as that goes ahead. So
great, Grayden. I heard that you're just using midnight to 6 for sleep, so you
yeah,
still have some more time. You could do more work.
I know
So
it's rather selfish, Mayor.
I know it's yeah.
Oh man! All right, let's take a look at this page here. I'll switch over so you get a little better view there. Boom, boom. Um, so this is really exciting. This is what's happening. This is a plan that they're looking at. But to stress again, this is just a plan.
It's more of a vision than a plan, but it
Sorry,
is a
that's a
vision.
better word for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving
So.
forward on railway lands, and uh, this will become part of the conversation on the secondary plan.
And so there's a
But
whole report.
we're going to leave this up here for you to look at your own. After we're done, you can scroll through it still, because some of it's fairly small print, but it's really looking forward to, certainly on the railway museum side of things, what the kind of cost outlook and vision of what the building could be, not what it will be, but what it could be.
hmm And this is one of their images here, their vision images in terms of
Yeah.
how the space can be used. You can kind of see there. And they've got it built down into 3 phases, which is exciting. Yeah, I sleep once in a while,
Yes.
Fran.
Yeah. I often think the same thing. Jesus, is it too early to call Grayden? Is it too late to call Grayden? Can I call him in the middle of the day? Because what would he be doing right now? And I just use text a lot, and he gets back to me when he can and doesn't when he can't. And it works out perfect in our conversations about what type of communication can we do better to tell people more, to be more transparent. You
Mhm.
and I were just reminiscing that we're almost 7 years now of doing this show. Transparency in
Incredible.
the city of St. Thomas at the political level. We're pretty pleased with talking about it. Oh, wait. We could get from Jess how much you just lay around. Jess is on tonight. This is a
Yeah, she's gonna tell you that not a lot,
well, she'll tell
basically.
you the stories about, yeah, she's the hardest working one in the family. We just know that.
It's
But
that's very true. That's very true. But yeah, this morning, or was it this morning? I don't know. Everything's a blur. Yeah. It was this morning. I was up at I don't know, like 5 or something like that, and we were out at 6 a.m. filming with the city roadworks crew because they
yeah,
were filling in potholes.
well, we asked them. We ask everyone to call customer service. Tell us where those potholes are. Give us some moves, and we'll get out there and fix it. We keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's going to be one of the beehives. So stay tuned for that. You're going to see exactly how the potholes get filled, and they're going to go over like the length and the new machine they've got, which gives a time period of about 7 years. They said in terms of filling the cracks and the potholes that
Ah,
the new
super.
machine. Yeah,
Great.
very very cool.
I can't wait to watch that, because they haven't asked me to go out and do it. So I'm glad that you fill in for me fill in. That's a joke about potholes at all of these events, right?
Yep. And then this week's beehive is all about roundabouts with the police services helping guide us on the correct way
And
to
putting the
traverse.
lines down now that they're finished, so that if you can keep your car between those lines, you're going to be safe, right?
Exactly. And Fran saying Boyd's always saying time is fake. It is time. I don't know.
That's exactly right. Yes, it is what you make of it, and
Exactly.
sometimes you just go hard, and then you'll find some spare time.
All right. And let's get back on track here.
Yeah.
We got phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, which is pretty exciting. So what their vision right now is to look at phase 1, which you'll see over on the left-hand side there, and that's to get that part of the Railway Museum all fixed up so that they can hold events in there that they want to and have some flex spaces. They've got some really great concepts for what they'd like to do with the space.
Yep.
And then as they get more funding, they go into phase 2, and as they get additional funding, they go into phase 3, which will really take this into one of
Right.
the best event. It already is one of the best event spaces and museums in the area, but
So
that will
think of how
really.
much greater it could be, and what else it could be even besides that. So they've got a great vision as to what they kind of want to do next, and kind of what it might cost.
Mhm.
Certainly, it's not a new building, so it's got some troubles, roof lines and other things, and it will take. That's the task list down the left hand side of the page. So as you
Yeah.
can see, there's a little bit of work to do. right?
Yeah. And they've got some visions for the different places in terms of like museum space, flex event space, potential STEM camp space, exhibition
Right.
space. So it's really
Education
taking it.
space. Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm. And then,
So
yeah.
looking forward to hearing the conversation about what is being shared. Um, so that we have a chance to also give our thoughts and ideas.
Mhm.
And then how many volunteers it would take and how many volunteer dollars it would take to do what's asked. So
Mhm.
I believe that most of this was just from a study from Lord and the
Yeah.
Railway Museum. So to answer Brett's question, there are pictures and layouts of what could be from a great community, a great organization that runs historical museums or designs historical museums. So,
Yeah, and we've got phase 2 here. So after phase 1 is complete, you move into phase 2, so you have even more space and some really exciting ideas for that in terms of like one of the things that St. Thomas really struggles to have is enough conference space. So this would
yeah,
provide a much larger conference space as well as more rolling stock room.
yeah.
Um,
It can be all of those things, and as you can see how open this concept is, even with some railway heritage pieces here on the right, but a very open meeting conference kind of space. So let's, as we said, none of this is carved in stone. These are visions, and we really want input. And I know the
mhm,
Railway Museum wants input. The city wants us all to kind of think together on railway heritage, but also on the what is the city missing? As Grayden mentioned, conference space or convention space.
mhm.
This could be that. Um, and while we're doing the secondary plan, we can talk about the use of the rest of the lands too.
And you can see in there too, there's an indoor market space. So that's another space where vendors could come in. And right now they've used some of it. Like I remember at the railway, say road races, they did vendor
Yes.
space inside of there.
Yep.
Um, but this could even expand that capability as they
Yep.
get that space fixed up there. And then it can also be used during the Christmas time. So I'm sure you know
Well, the
the
Christmas
Christmas
tree
tree
event last year
spectacular.
was like second to none of anything I've ever seen. So
Mhm.
really, really hope that one can visit again. But if the space is being used for other things, then there's sometimes you can't do things too. So
And you can see the idea of an indoor rink there, which would be pretty awesome.
yeah.
Kind of hidden in the middle of that picture there, and then Rick Nemeth
Don't
saying,
tell Rose. She wants a roller rink. So we'll
"Hey,
keep
put the
yeah.
roller rink around the outside."
Yeah. Yeah.
Rick Nemeth saying, "If we could figure out how to manage the acoustics, the Railway Museum would be an amazing performance space." Couldn't agree more, Rick. Like,
What?
Rick saying it would be an amazing.
What?
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm just
exactly.
managing my acoustics here. I agree with Rick. I wear hearing aids, and I find it can be somewhat troubling sometimes because of how tall
Mhm,
the ceilings are and how the sound travels in a pretty concrete building, a pretty solid building. So, Rick, you're absolutely right. Um, and all of these things have to be thought through. Not everybody gets great insulation like Graydon has in his office to handle the sound.
yeah, but I think, like, to speak to his point, I think it'd be fairly easy to put up tracks and have acoustic panels that come out to
Yes, and
baffle
we've
that
seen that
sound.
done in many buildings
Yeah.
that were originally warehouse space or industrial space and then converted to other uses, and it works. And we see it done in arenas too, of course.
Mhm,
When it's not just a hockey rink, it can also be a performance center. So the acoustic piece can be managed.
mhm.
I'm not sure
There.
what, Brett, you're asking again. I know you've asked this a couple of times. Why are we allowing and enabling planning? That's our job. We have a planning department that does that. And so the secondary plan is allowed to work together with the landowners and their planners on what the secondary plan can be. But it's a matter of gathering information, not about
Mhm,
telling information. So we'll move the planning process forward using our planning department as the lead. And the landowners and their planners as the information as to what they think their parts of the land can be. And there's many owners surrounding the secondary plan. So don't think the city's not involved. As we said last week, and we've said a number of times, we're going to touch this thing about 100 times on its way to coming up with a secondary plan. But in case I forget, Brett will ask me every week.
mhm. There we've got this is the venue space. You can see the kind of the chairs lined up there, and you can see, I mean, if you've been in there, you've seen the space, you know how amazing it is. And the lighting as well. If you look up towards the windows, the original lighting, there would be retaining that based on this vision here, which I think is fantastic, because when the sun is setting, you get that phenomenal glowing light come across.
I want to answer Steve's question because he went by and I didn't answer it. I didn't see it. Now I got it. He asked, how will the tracks on First Ave be fixed? I've already asked that they be done as well as the tracks on Centennial were repaired last time. But this takes both sides of this, CN and the city's roads people, to come up with it. I would bet with the amount of attention the tracks on First Ave have gotten, you'll get a spectacular repair of the First Ave and CN crossing. So
I wonder if they'll put the wood, like the nice wood, in between the tracks,
well,
in other places.
I haven't stopped to look at what they did on Centennial, but I really like how it looks and how you can drive over it. So let's hope they're doing that.
Fingers crossed. All right. And then we have phase 3, which is the historic anchor for the whole piece. So this is kind of a fully fleshed vision for what this space could look like, which is really exciting. And I know we're coming to the end of our time here, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick little look at what people are going to be seeing if you didn't get a chance to make it to the meeting or the public meetings for the Railway Museum. So based on all of this, like if you have some feedback, let the Railway Museum know what you're thinking. Here's a great look from above.
Input all around: transportation master plan, parks master plan, the conversation about the secondary plan and the Railway Museum. I'm not certain how we're kiboshing anything, but I'll just use Brett's word there. We're not kiboshing public interest. We're asking for it over and over and over again, and there'll be lots of times for you to give your thoughts, right? Even here on Mayor's Update. So let's keep
every Tuesday.
Right?
Adam Montgomery, I was just laughing because Adam Montgomery is saying I look a little gray today. Yeah.
Yes, you are. You're in a gray checkerboard with your gray and black. Yeah, you're right. You do. Are you not in color? Have you lost color in your life?
Yeah, it's because you get to the end of the day, it's hard to not be gray.
Right.
And here you can see the rail line connecting in as well next to the street. If you do a Center Street extension there coming into Queso Crossing, then you've also got the rail line that'll connect into the main line, and you've got the transfer station that you can see just to the east there, the transfer table. So the rail would come out there and then pop up and work it all out.
Right. Well, I disagree, Molly, that not-for-profits can run many facilities like this. And whether it's, again, get your input in, get the conversation as to what you'd like it to have, then get your volunteer feed on and get your wallet out, because we're going to need that from every level of government and every volunteer that can be involved in the community. So let's get working together on what you'd like to see, what we'd like to have there, because we've got the rest of the land around it. We've got to do the secondary plan, and the number of business owners around it would like to also work on a new project at the same time.
Oh, our windows are, there we go.
Great.
Well, thanks for looking at that.
Law. Okay, I'll look at the law. I think it's CRA that manages profits and not-for-profits, but I will let them know that I'm looking at it.
No, it's great to be able to share that. Rob Stern saying track to the 2 existing west doors are a must. And I know they're also looking at that, Rob, from what I've heard.
Yeah. Let's figure out how to do all these things that everybody wants. Let's get the whole list together and decide what's possible and what can be afforded. Let's do it.
And then Molly is saying these plans are going to destroy that small historic neighborhood. I personally, I disagree with that. I think it's going to really
connect it to Talbot Street and make it part of a downtown square type concept. I think that's exactly what it will do, but that's just my vision. I've got a positive vision for it. Let's collect all the stuff we can and let's see what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And Rob Stern saying it's not negotiable to the West End. I mean, that you'll have to take that to the Railway Museum and let them determine that. This is just the initial vision here, but fingers
Okay,
crossed it all works out.
this isn't the forum for it.
No.
We're sharing the possibilities and the vision, and we'd like all of your thoughts on possibilities and vision, right? And
Mm-hmm.
at this moment, nobody's wrong.
Yeah.
There's lots of ways we can look at what can happen next and how much it might cost and how many years it will take to raise that money so that it can happen solidly and in a great way for our city. We'll
Yeah.
continue to do that.
And I expect we could also have folks from the Elgin County Railway Museum on here to share with that, and they could answer these questions more directly as well.
Well, sorry, Molly, if you don't think I'm taking this seriously, I take all of the great growth that's happened in our downtown, and now with the secondary plan, including the Railway Museum, exceptionally positively. And we're being well recognized for how well we're being communicative about it. So I'll agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm. Very good. All right. Well, we pushed it a little bit later
Uh-oh.
this evening. What?
Uh-oh. We know we keep doing this every week, and we keep trying to decide how do we do a half-hour show in 45 minutes or do a 45-minute show in half an hour,
Right.
right? I guess you could
Maybe
stay
we
up
need
all
to go
night cutting
longer.
little pieces out, right?
Yeah, maybe we do need to go longer. We've just gotten more and more to talk about.
Perfect. So I'm glad to see the folks on the screen are sharing all that they want and have been sharing it. And let's make that part of the plan moving forward.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Well, I disagree again, Molly, that the mayor's update is a transparent sharing of things that happen in our community, but it isn't just about one item. It's about the whole city. And we talk sometimes about construction in a certain spot or a water replacement plant or the industrial growth in our city. And we'll continue to share all that we can about the whole city and not just any one topic. We'll touch on every topic that we can,
Yeah.
but that's what we'll do.
And we're also not investigative news. So I think that, as you're saying there, seems to be a comment about that. It's like, that's not what this is. This is a place for you to ask your questions and have the mayors respond to it, a response to it, and then have other people, if we can bring them on, to talk about the different items as well, to do the best we can with what we've got.
Okay, I'm sorry you don't think I take my job seriously. I do, and we'll take it seriously again for another term.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions about the city in general, rather than one place in the city? We'll certainly answer any of them. We know we're getting a great repair on the First Ave Railway this
Mm-hmm.
week. A lot more conversation with CN Rail, and we'll carry on. It's just we'll continue to look at our downtown in its entirety, and that's why we want a secondary plan to attach to our great growth we're having in the downtown. So we'll carry on getting as much input as we can on all of this.
And then stay tuned for all the events that are happening through Railway City Tourism, Elgin County Tourism, as well as the MyFM events page. As always, Horton Market is happening every Saturday. It's absolutely fantastic. If you have any other questions, also, you can send them in before we do the mayor's update, and then we can answer them as we go through it as well.
Like just tonight, we quickly got an ask to have Rick Nemeth on next week. We hope we can arrange that up. We'll talk about the Railway City Arts and Music Festival. We'll take your input on suggestions too, but we have to take, because it's a transparent show about the city itself, we have to take questions about what else is happening in the city also and answer them.
Mm-hmm.
We're not a news channel or are we beholding to anybody but Grayden and Joe. We got to do this on our own and make sure that we get enough information out. Right.
Yeah.
So thank you for your input. Thank you for some of you with a positive outlook and some of you with great vision for our city. And we'll continue to work as strong as we can. Grayden, we'll see everybody next week.
You betcha. Thanks again for your time, Mayor. Appreciate it. And I'll see you next week. And hopefully, we'll talk to Rick Nemeth then. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks.
Take care. We'll see you next week.